tradition of trust and a history of 2 centuries in question, as Nepal has put on hold the recruitment of Gorkhas in the Indian Army under the Agnipath scheme. The move has put a question mark on the practice that has a history of 2 centuries. The Nepalese government has some reservations about the scheme.
Nepal feels that when this Agnipath was evolved and announced, it was not consulted. So that's another reason, a grounds that they have, that since it involves the terms and conditions of the soldiers, they ought to have been consulted. As I mentioned earlier, it's too huge a blow, 3% of the GDP. So they're unhappy. How are they going to meet this deficit? We're also not very sure that the Nepalese who were recruited under the Agnipath, how many would actually get absorbed? As per our planning, 25% of the total Agniveer would actually be taken back, and then they will continue serving and drawing pension. Now, people have to understand this, that nothing discriminatory has been made for Nepal. The rules being framed are same for everyone in the Indian Army. How is it going to affect? Because before it affects the Indian Army, it affects immediately the Gurkha regiments which recruit. So obviously, if there's going to be no recruitment, there's going to be a shortage. And if there's going to be a shortage, no battalion is going to be kept under strength. And therefore, what will happen is that recruitment of other than Gurkhas will be opened up in the Gurkha battalions. I mean, the writing is on the wall. If there are no Gurkhas willing to come and serve, and I'm now talking about the Nepalese Gurkhas, first thing what will happen is that it will give the Indian Gurkhas greater opportunity for them to join. Otherwise, they had to compete. As I mentioned earlier, that 70% are actually Nepalese Gurkhas, 30% are there. So what will happen is the shortfall. Of course, I don't think we can meet the entire strength of the Gurkhas from the Indian Gurkhas, but what will happen is there will be a larger intake from the Indian Gurkhas. And secondly, this will open up an opportunity for others to join. Let me also mention to you that the Indian Army has many mixed regiments, including Gurkha regiments, and they have done exceedingly well. And a lot of people think that, look, a single caste regiment does very well. That's a little bit of a fallacy in today's time. But I would say there would be a hiccup, but I think it'll be overcome.
Maharaja Ranjit Singh first raised a battalion of Gorkhas to serve in his army around 1809 and 1814. The British Army followed suit a year later. The Indian Army began recruiting Nepalese Gorkhas under the tripartite agreement signed between India, Nepal and the UK in 1947 after independence. There are currently around 30,000 Nepalese citizens serving in the Army's 7 Gorkha Rifles regiments, each of which has 5 to 6 battalions. Nepal also has over 1.3 lakh ex-servicemen who draw their pensions from the Indian Army. The current impasse will have a socio-economic impact on Nepal.
Nepalese Gurkhas actually earn and take back about $620 million, which amounts to nearly about 5,000 crores. Their own budget, the defense budget, is about 400 odd million, which actually translates to about 3,500 crore rupees annually. So the total earnings by serving in the Indian Army, pension and the pay, that's more than their entire budget. And if you look at the GDP, it's about 3.5%. Money is one part of the thing. The opportunity the soldiers get to have their children educated, the next generation is actually studying in the army public school, the Kendra Vidyalayas. They get good quality education, they get good medical facilities. There's a huge, I mean, just don't look at the pay and allowances. The Gurkha family, which comes over here from Nepal and settle there, this is a second home for them. For them, and as far as the Indians are concerned, we never differentiate. They can settle down here, they can buy property here.
In recent years, China has stepped up its activities in Nepal. Today, it gets involved in Nepal's internal affairs too. Now, China has systematically made huge strategic inroads over the years. Reports say China wants to recruit Gorkhas in PLA, but that would cost Nepal.
Of a lot of people saying that, look, the Chinese will recruit if we don't recruit. Well, it may happen. Let it happen. How many will they recruit? Will they raise 43 battalions worth? Don't forget that we are linked. India and Nepal have a 5,000-year-old history. Historically, we are tied together. All the rivers flow into India from that place. We share common heritage. We share common lots of religions which come from this part of the world. So just to say that with the Chinese, they can be a little thorn in the flesh. They can recruit a few people. They can. I'm aware of it that they have what we call recruited people from Tibet who understand Hindi. But what impact has that made? None. So they can keep saying that they'll recruit Nepalese and all. I don't think it's going to have much. Unfortunately, what will happen is Nepalese will not be the winners, they'll be the losers.
The government of Nepal has said that the decision on Gorkhas recruitment will be taken only after the November polls. There is a lobby in Nepal that is opposed to the Indian Army recruiting Nepalese youth, which may impact the prospects of political parties too. Times Online Report.